So there is a new unemployment movement that's going on right now called career cushioning. The big idea really is that, as most of you guys know, we've had so many unemployment movements over the last couple of years. Career cushioning has technically been around for a while now, but it's just particularly getting popular over the last month or so. The big idea is that we had the Great Resignation, we had quiet quitting, and now we have something new to introduce to everyone here, and that is called career cushioning. Now, the big idea is that this is all also happening while layoffs and unemployment is starting to skyrocket once again. We made a couple videos talking about the return of unemployment. Highly recommend checking out those videos. They're going to be at the end screen. The thumbnail, it's just in bright red. So you guys can definitely check that out at the end of this video. But the big idea is that in today's video, what I really want to talk about is really defining what is career cushioning, or if you already know what career cushioning is about the significance of career cushioning, what it is, how it works, should you be doing it, and what this means for you and your particular career. So with that being said, let's just get this video started. But as always, the same drill as always. Remember to smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts about honestly anything. And with that being said, let's get this video rolling. So in terms of what career cushioning exactly is that it's essentially a movement that's going on by a group of people right now, and potentially you might end up joining it as well. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But it's a movement of a group of people that are taking part in right now, where they're essentially looking for a new job or preparing for, in the case that they end up losing their jobs, before they end up losing their jobs. So in other words, this is actually especially true right now because, as most of you guys know, there has been a massive amount of layoffs that have been happening where people are losing their jobs, and we are talking about jobs that are in industries that were once believed to be stable. So for example, like the tech industry, now even people in the tech industry are losing their jobs. And it's not just related to tech, but it's really all sorts of industries in general. Any kind of job right now that a person is potentially now at risk of losing, that's what career cushioning is. Essentially, it's creating a cushion in the case that you fall off of your job. When you fall, some people use a parachute, some people want to put cushions on the bottom, and the cushion is basically just people taking a bunch of procedures to prepare for that. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But comparing this to the other kinds of unemployment / job loss career related movements, basically the idea in the history is that first we had the Great Resignation. The Great Resignation was really a movement talking about people group of people deciding to voluntarily resign for their jobs in order to chase out something better. Then you had something called quiet quitting, which is a group of people that decided that, wow, maybe they don't want to necessarily resign from their jobs, but they should be able to just do the bare minimum in belief that eventually it's just going to lead them to become fired anyway. And essentially they're pretty much just quietly, subtly quitting to potentially now get fired. So there's a group of people that resign from their jobs. There's a group of people that are doing the bare minimum, risking the fact that they might potentially get fired. And now you have a group of people that are actually trying to stay on their jobs, or certainly protect their jobs. So what a great turn of events. Now, there's a group of people now trying to protect their jobs, but in the case that they lose their jobs, they're preparing for it. Whether they lose their jobs because, again, they either end up resigning their jobs because maybe of stress and pressure. We did have a video that talks about when it should be time to maybe consider quitting your job. I'll put that at the end screen. It's literally, I believe, just called When You Should Quit Your Job, or something along those lines. Or whether you lose it because you quit your job or because you end up fired because of one of those movements. The bottom line is that if you end up losing your job in some way, career cushioning is basically a way of protection. It's a way to protect yourself in the case that it really does physically end up happening. Now, in terms of how do you actually physically career cushion, there's a lot of strategies in terms of how to actually physically do it. And that's the really part that's really interesting. For example, there are some people that are career cushioning, and it could be something as simple as updating your resume, updating your LinkedIn profile, updating just other kinds of paperwork or things related to your profile that you might need to communicate things to employers. So like cover letter, resumes, as just mentioned, to even things like going out to seminars, to learning new skills, to preparing yourself. The big idea is that career cushioning is, and that might actually be one of the reasons why it might actually be a good movement in its own way, because it's not necessarily talking about quitting or leaving your job. It's talking about protecting protecting yourself in the case you do have to do it. So this is basically a way where essentially you're also just working on yourself, such as through self-improvement, self-development, learning new skills, working on yourself, trying to grow your career, trying to create multiple sources of income. We definitely talk a little bit about that on this channel, so definitely consider subscribing if you guys haven't done so and is interested in videos like that. But the big idea is that anything that could potentially help you get ahead in life, that's basically the big idea to what career cushioning is and how you can physically do it. So in other words, by making yourself more valuable to the marketplace, it makes it so that you're less likely to lose your job, but that if you were to lose your job, you have something to fall back on. And that is the most important thing and takeaway behind what this is. So in terms of should you actually be doing this particular movement and taking part in it, I would say that it depends on you. It depends on the person's situation. But for the majority of people, actually, very much yes. I think that it is a movement that I think a lot of people should consider looking into, because the biggest difference between this movement and a lot of the other movements, such as like quiet quitting and quiet quitting, great resignation, is that the other kinds of unemployment and career related movements are really centered around people that maybe do not necessarily like their jobs, so they're trying to find a way to get out of the life that they're currently at. Career cushioning, interestingly, is something that's dedicated to almost every single person, regardless of whether you do or do not like your job, because it's talking a lot about preparing for the potential chance that you end up losing your job. So if you do love your job, this is very relatable because you might potentially lose it, and this is to help you cushion in the case it does happen. Now, if you hate your job, then this is still something that's related because it talks about preparing yourself in the case now you do lose your job, whether it is because you lost it because you resigned, or as just mentioned, because you got fired, or just any means of losing a person's job. That's what this is really about, and protecting yourself from it. And I think at the end of the day, what's really related is that this is also just a great way to improve yourself, because the whole idea of career cushioning at the end of the day is also basically just self-improvement, self-development. So regardless of where you are on your career journey, it is something that I think most people should definitely consider looking into, or certainly learning about. So if you are in this channel right now and you're watching this video, then welcome, because you're obviously interested in this particular topic. So huge thanks for being here. But in terms of maybe to end this by talking about the significance about what this means, is that I think the big idea right now is that I think people are really just waking up in order to see how so many different movements have been taking place, and about how a lot of times I think the big idea is just recognizing that the workers deserve better. And I think the big idea is that a lot of workers are starting to voice their opinions about what they want in their particular career. And I think that's something that's actually really, really bright news for the majority of people, because it means we're able to finally hopefully have more voice. We're able to have better work environment, better work circles, better work situations, and the physically better work in general, because you're able to do things that we hopefully now actually physically care about, and that really matters to bring value to the company or whatever workplace we're currently working at. And I think that's the really, really cool thing about it. You know, what's awesome is that, or what's particularly coincidental, is the fact that it's wild that this is also happening during a time when a lot of people are already starting to lose their jobs. And I think that it's become even more necessary than ever to be able to do all of these things, to make yourself more valuable, to make yourself better, and of course to develop multiple streams of income, and recognize, at least trying to make an attempt to recognize how important it is to do that, to have side hustles, to have side businesses, to experiment, and to really just grow individually as a person. And I think that this is something that goes even beyond career cushioning, but just to help our lives in just general. But of course, all of this stuff, we just kind of have to see how all of these movements kind of play out. Is there going to be another kind of related unemployment career movement beyond career cushioning, beyond quiet quitting, beyond the great resignation? All of this stuff is to be determined in hopefully one of the future episodes of The Kevin Show. But with that being said, that's pretty much what I really just wanted to talk about in today's video. So if you guys found that insightful, thank you guys for watching. If you guys made it to the end, maybe leave a comment about your personal thoughts about this. Consider subscribing, hitting the bell. Remember to smash the like button if you guys hopefully enjoyed this, or leave a suggestion for improvement. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well, stay employed, or stay active looking for employment. Stay cushioning, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.